Hello, everybody. Welcome back to True Witness Paranormal. In this video, we are going to be talking about spook lights. Strange, glowing, fiery balls of light that appear seemingly out of nowhere, spinning, dancing, haunting the back roads of the Midwest here in the United States. Often they have been reported to get a little too close to cars for comfort. But before we get into my personal spooklight experiences and the experiences of others, if you would please give this video a like and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Alright, so let's get into my experience. When I was about 14 years old, I had this really weird experience with this blue ball of fire that seemed to just appear from nowhere. See, I was a very active kid. I was outside very often. Any time that my parents would allow, that is. And this particular evening, they didn't seem to mind that I wanted to just kind of hang around out in the yard, though it was after dark. So there I was, just kind of pacing around the yard, enjoying the cool weather. I think it was early summer. And I happened to look towards the highway that was near our home. And that's whenever I saw this burning blue ball of light. I mean, really, it just looked like hovering fire. And I couldn't explain how this could be. I watched as it hovered probably, 4 to 5 feet from the surface of the highway. And what really amazed me is that there was no sound, there was no smell of smoke. And whenever it went into the woods, it didn't burn anything. As I watched it go off into the woods, I did have a very real fear of, oh no, what if this thing causes a forest fire? But nothing, just a faint glow fading off into the forest. See, I grew up in Missouri, where spooklight tells of the paranormal in general, abound. I remember my dad telling me the story of the spooklight that would appear on the old property that my family once owned. He said that it would appear just above the treetops and hover over what he called the holler until it was no longer in sight. In Missouri, there's a town, in fact, that is very famous for their spooklight, and that is Joplin. The so-called Hornet spooklight can be seen on the Missouri-Oklahoma border, and it can be seen from the road that locals call the Devil's Promenade. Some say that the spooklight has been witnessed for over 100 years, but during my research I couldn't find any records proving so. I've seen some videos of people hunting down this mysterious Hornet spooklight, and it seems that people have seen it in the trees. They see it hovering just over the road. They can see it from miles away. And sometimes it seems to get really close to people. There's even been reports of it chasing people's cars. I watched a video where one woman seemed to get really close to it. The video footage was quite blurry, I have to say. We couldn't see a whole lot, but the story did capture the interest of the local news. Anyway, the reporter claimed that when she got really close to it, she could feel an intense cold, which isn't really what you would expect from a burning ball of light. Watching videos wasn't quite enough for me, though it did pique my interest. I wanted to do what any good researcher does and take my quest to Reddit. But before we go and read what the Reddit peeps are saying, if you would please like and subscribe to this channel, it really does help. This channel is a no AI zone. It's a creative space for me to share these stories with you guys and to share my handiwork, my illustrations that you see here on the screen. It's an art project. It is a passion project. So please show your support if you are part of the AI resistance. So let's get into the Reddit reports, shall we? So these are from people who have claimed to have seen the Hornet spook light right outside of Joplin, Missouri. The first person whose story caught my attention reported a basketball-sized orb that moved in a figure-8 pattern about 10 feet off of the ground. The person said that it lit up the ground beneath it. Now, this figure-8 pattern really amazed me because I too have seen strange glowing balls of light that seem to move in such patterns, as if they are following a circuit that they are momentarily locked into. My experiences with such things were in the skies, and I do not believe that they were drones because, well, let's face it, I was seeing these things long before drones were even a popular concept. Yes, I am that old, okay? And the claim that it lit up the ground beneath it is rather interesting as well. The second person whose story I wanted to share said, it looked like a ball of fire doing figure eights. So there's the figure eights again. They said that it was doing this pattern sideways. Then they reported that it flickered away for a moment, and when it popped back up, there was a red orb beside it. Again, guys, this is something I have seen in our skies, where there will be a mysterious light just kind of hovering way up there, and it'll be alone, and then all of a sudden, there will be another light that will appear next to it, or will come from it. There's so many videos of this sorts of thing happening online. If you guys have ever looked up UFO videos on YouTube, I'm sure you've come across such footage. The person continues, it was like they were dancing, doing figure eights around each other. So there's this ball of light that has a small red ball of light that appears to it after the original light flickers away and comes back, and then these two lights are doing a figure eight dance around each other. They reported that as soon as their headlights hit the objects and they got closer to them, the objects then disappeared. Also, a very common report. You get too close to these things, they vanish, and sometimes they will reappear behind you. One Redditor's mother reported that as a teenager in the 1950s, she went out there with some friends and saw the light coming towards their car. She said that it got really close to the hood, and then it disappeared and reappeared behind their car. Very spooky. While reading other reports, I noticed some other things that seem to commonly happen with these spook lights, and that is changing of color, erratic movement, spinning, dancing. Some have even reported that it suddenly shoots straight up into the sky, while others say it just vanishes away, or like with the spook light that I saw when I was about 14, it just vanishes off into the woods. People have reported that they don't have a beam, which means it's unlikely that it's coming from a nearby headlight or flashlight. They've reported that these things pulsate. One report that fascinated me was from someone who said that they saw this thing back in the 1950s, and they said that it was brighter than any of the other lights that they had during the time. And there are many legends that are attached to the Joplin spook light. Some say that it is, I suppose, the combination of North American lovers who died together. Some say it's the lantern of a man searching for his lost children. I also saw reports that it is the ghost of a Native American chief. So, legends abound. And so do the skeptics. During my research, I have to say the two skeptical arguments that seem to be dominant are A, that they are headlights, and B, that they are a manifestation of swamp gas. If I were to believe either of these ideas, I would probably go with the assumption that they are the result of headlights. The reason why I would believe so, if I were to believe so, is because These things seem to appear on highways where headlights can be seen very, very far away. You have a long stretch of road that looks quite hilly, in my opinion, and so you could imagine headlights popping over a hillside miles away in the dark could create the illusion that there is some sort of a glowing light, perhaps bobbing around on the hilly surface of the road and moving ever closer to you before making a turn and suddenly disappearing. I haven't been to this location, so my knowledge is very limited here. But yeah, that's maybe a skeptical take that I could see myself holding to, if I were to hold to a skeptical take. What bothers me about this claim is that people report spinning balls of fire passing right by their cars, sometimes over their cars, sometimes chasing their cars. And I don't know if I've ever seen headlights create spinning balls of fire that are observable only a few feet away from you. The swamp gas theory kind of falls on its face, in my opinion, because a lot of times people have witnessed the spook light. It has been during the dry seasons. It's not exactly a swampy area from what I can tell. It doesn't seem like there's a massive amount of decaying vegetation that would cause swamp gas to be extremely visible in that area. I mean, I grew up in the woods, and even during the wettest seasons, I can't think of any time that I saw swamp gas igniting and burning. And look, guys, I saw that one fiery blue ball of light, and maybe it was swamp gas, I don't know, but why is that the only time I've ever seen something like that just hovering feet off of the ground? Again, I grew up in the woods. I grew up in an area where if that's what that was, I should have seen it commonly. I don't know. I think that the swamp gas kind of falls on its face. I don't really buy that one. What do you guys think? There's one more possibility I want to discuss in this video before it comes to a close, and that is the question, could they be UFOs? As I said, I've seen lights in the sky that seem to do the same thing as these mysterious spook lights. The only real difference that I can identify between UFOs and these spook lights is that UFOs are mostly seen in the sky. People might say, well, these spook lights are not metallic disc, but UFOs don't seem to always take on the form of metallic disc either. They take on all kinds of weird forms. These UFOs are very small. These spook lights are usually quite small. Could they be probes from somewhere else, from another planet or another dimension? Another idea is that they could be energy that's being sucked from the Earth and taken to who knows where. Are these strange spook lights trying to tell us something? Are they simply reminding us that we're not alone? Are they interdimensional beings? There's so many questions. There's so many possibilities, and I would love to know what you guys think. So if you would, drop a comment below. I love reading this kind of stuff. It's kind of why I'm doing this kind of content. Some have claimed that these spook lights could be omens of something bad that is about to happen, sort of like your Mothman prophecies kind of deal, but I can't really find much evidence of that. I don't really see anything great or bad happening to people immediately after seeing a spook light, so that one's off the table for me. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I just don't see enough evidence to say that that's a common occurrence with these so-called spook lights. I really hope that you have enjoyed this video, and if you have, please, I know I've asked a few times already, but just one more. Just bear one more with me. Please like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one.